Good morning, friends. This is Chandra from Akulmac Technologies. Welcome to Top Brass. Today, we have very distinguished guest in our show, Mr. Neville Gant, who's the MD of MindFit Limited, UK. And topic of our discussion today is how to be disciplined in the wake of coronavirus outbreak, or rather pandemic. Welcome to the show, Neville.
Hello, CK. Hope you're very well.
Thank you, Neville. Hope you are good as well. So, what do you think is people should do while working from home, especially when they cannot travel out? What are the opportunities for them? Would you like to throw some ideas for the benefit of our viewers?
Yeah, of course. I mean, the interesting thing about this coronavirus, it might actually, long term, really improve the way businesses do work. Because you and I both know that we're remote working just in this conversation. You're several thousand miles away, the sun's shining, I'm in London and it's raining. So I'm feeling the effects of what's going on here and you're feeling the effects of what's going on there. And that actually is the key to understanding how you work from home. How do you remote work? And it's a bit of this word, you said it, it's a bit of having a discipline, having structure in your daily attire. You look, as ever, very smart, suited and booted. You're raring to go, as am I. It's a little earlier in the day for me than you. We're 5.5 hours difference. We've adjusted to that time frame because we put it in the calendar. We're disciplined. We both are aware that it's going to happen at that particular time. The great thing here is you didn't have to travel, struggle to the car park. I would have to struggle to the car park because it's pouring down with rain. I'd have to use an umbrella, to keep the rain off me. And I don't know about you, but when you take the umbrella down in the car, everywhere gets wet, doesn't it? So I'm going to have to clean that up. So all of those things that I would have to do as a consequence of getting in the car, not least of looking on the highway and thinking, oh no, I'm going to be there for at least 30 minutes. I better leave 40 minutes. So you're disciplined in a different way when you travel. Now what you need to be is disciplined at home, because that's where a lot of work's going to get done. And the simple thing is, dress for work. It's a simple issue. It's a common sense thing to do, but you would be surprised at the number of people that I've been interviewing over the last 2 or 3 weeks because of the coronavirus. And they're sitting at home in jeans and a t-shirt. They're not fit for work. When I meet them socially, they're smart. And when I meet them professionally, they're like I am. They've got a shirt on, they've got a tie on, they've got a suit on. But I'm having a coaching session with them and they've got jeans and a t-shirt. What does that do to your mindset? Now, maybe it's good because you're very relaxed. But maybe it's not so good because you're not actually on form. Because in the context of my work with them, they would have a suit on. They would have a dress on. They would be ready for work. Not in jeans and a t-shirt. Or sweats, as a lot of people do at home. So having the discipline just to be dressed, ready to work. Does that make sense?
Yes, I think, Neville, the mental discipline is very important for whatever work we do. So if we are working from home, it is important to get in the mindset that you're working, even though you're working from home, but you're actually doing your official work. So continue your life as normal and dress up for the day as if you're going to office. So I think I fully agree with this point, because the mental discipline is very important. The mind energies should flow in the right direction, so that you dress up formally, and you talk to your clients, your colleagues, your office workers, or anyone between 9 to 6. And after 6, you can get into your sweatshirts and t-shirts and
Yep,
jeans.
you're absolutely right. And you've made a really good point there. Talk to your colleagues. Just because you are now remote working, talk to them, contact them, have regular times of the day where you all take a break. Because if you were in the office, you know, most people wouldn't just sit at their desk and have a drink on their own. They would turn around and say, anyone fancy a coffee or a cup of tea? Some offices have special breakout areas where you can actually physically move away from your desk and go and have a cup of tea or a coffee or a drink. That does three things actually. First thing, it gets you away from the workplace. That's really important. It's downtime. It's thinking time. The second thing is you're socializing with your colleagues. I can't tell you how vitally important that is for the success of an organization. And the third thing is you're hydrating yourself. You're taking in a fluid, which is really important, especially with coronavirus, because it's one of the things that does fight this bacteria. So drinking a little and often is we're told, really important. So it breaks that cycle of this discussion, because this is a discussion. Your thinking brain's there. You're trying to understand what the other person's saying. So we're working quite hard during these discussions, as we would do if we were having a discussion out in an office. So that's really important. One other thing is when we're working from home, and a lot of people don't really appreciate this until they start to work at home for quite some time. Have you got any pets, Chandra?
Yes, I have a dog, and I have kids as well. So I put them in this category.
Actually, that's a different type of pet, But let's just keep to pets, because when you're in the office arena, I mean, there are some offices that allow pets these days, a Metro Bank and places like that, but the majority of places don't have pets. But you've got a pet at home, and your pet has demands, and your pet isn't normally going to see you at home. So they're going to be very happy that someone's there. So they're going to bark. The cat is going to come and crawl up your leg and meow all the time. I want food. I want this. I want that. I want the other. I want some attention. Just like a child, really. So you've got to be disciplined with the dog. So what do? When you work from home?
Well, I actually give them a bit of biscuits. And so the kids and the dog are in the same age group. They are 10 years old. So switch on the TV, far off room, and pack them there and tell them, these are the instructions, please follow, including dog. So I tell
including
them,
the dog. Oh, right.
follow this, A, B, C, D. These are the instructions. Don't make noise.
I want to be your dog's manager if your dog can read. Okay, because because I think you've got something different there. But the point is, get other people to recognise that you're working from home. So at work, we've got streaming capability, we've got video capability, we've got lots of downloads. We can work on the internet as we feel fit. But at home, you may be struggling with the width of the broadband. In certain parts of the world, you may be struggling with the fact that, the electricity is only on for certain times of the day, and you haven't got the backup generator that you've got in the office. So you need to think about a bit of discipline for your kids. They're at home now. The schools are closed. In many countries, the schools are closed. So Download all of the streaming videos that they're going to be watching during the day. Get them to be disciplined about, oh, Dad or Mum, I want to watch this today. Okay, well, I've got to be working from 9 o'clock, so you can download anything before 8:45. But make sure you're finished at 8:45. And that's good, because discipline for you now feeds into discipline for them. And they then know that they can't be downloading anything between the hours of 9 and 6 or 9 and 5, whatever you decide. But equally, when you're taking a break, you can say, I'm going to take a half an hour break. I'm going for a walk. If there's anything you need to download, talk to them, engage with them, communicate with them. Let them realize that this is a community that they're going to have to work with going forward. And I bet you do. Well, you've already said you do that. Your dog reads the instructions, and it's perfect. So that's great news. And are they appreciative of that approach?
Yes. So the way I discipline the small kids, which my dog is also like my kid. My dog seems to understand the language. So I speak with my dog in English and in my native mother tongue, which is Hindi. And the dog seems to understand all words. So I tell my dog, hey, don't come here, don't sit there, be quiet. And the dog seems to follow. So I'm quite blessed from that point of view. But I think while working from home, the kids are a bigger problem, because they are much more demanding than the pets. Because pets, you can give them a couple of biscuits and they can be quiet. But the kids needs their Cartoon Network. The parents have to ensure that they don't see too much cartoons, so they have to give some creative work to them. So apart from working on your official duties, I think this is also one part where the people have to get into some sort of discipline while managing their kids and ensuring that the content, the kids are busy with, has to have some variety.
Yep, you're absolutely right. And not all kids are young. Mine are somewhat older, and until recently, we did have one of our children working from home, living at home. So again, they need a workspace. They could be students. You could have students that have been told you can go online, etc., and do your work here. So in that case, again, if you've got broadband issues, or even if you've got workspace issues, because not every house has a luxury of a study for Dad, a study for Mum, and a study for each of the kids. We just don't have that luxury. Regularly, I used to be pushed to the shed when all the kids were at home, because it was down at the end of the garden and it was away from everybody else. But the good news is I had Wi-Fi, I had a coffee machine, and I could keep myself, active. But then again, I've been working from home. I've been in the SME arena for over 20 years now. So you had to do things to make things work for you. And we touched on something there about workspace. Think about your posture. You're sitting at a desk, I'm sitting at a desk. I've got my laptop in front of me. It's at the right height, it's at the right place. This is my workspace. If you haven't got a workspace at home, then take a bit of time and define one. It might be in the kitchen, it may be in the lounge, it may be in the living room or in the dining room. Whatever you do, do not stay in bed and just flip open your laptop. A bed is primarily somewhere to go to sleep, and your brain will say, this is a place to sleep. I sleep here. And it's one of those little voices, the can't do or the won't do, not the can do, those two little voices that are in the background saying, this is a bed for sleep. So why aren't you sleeping then? Because I'm working. Well, that's not an excuse, is it? And those are the subconscious biases that are going on all the time. So get out of it. Find a space that's convivial to what you're about to do. And that might mean when you're on the phone, get up and walk. Because I do that. The last thing I do is sit down and have a phone conversation. Do you just sit there and talk on the phone? I mean, we're having to sit here and have a conversation over the video because guess what? If I were to walk over here, then you would suddenly not see me in the screen and it would be a little bit boring. Or actually, maybe it would be a benefit. But when you have a telephone conversation, do you sound or do you just sit there and take the call?
See, when you ask me a question, I have to now wonder whether I sit or stand. Because I don't really really thought about it. But one thing I like to share, my secret is because I wear a band, a smart band, which is an Apple Watch. And in the Apple Watch, there is a facility that you can set up your stand hours. And so I've configured my Apple Watch to give me indication of my stand hours, which is 12 hours a day I need to stand in order to complete my goal. So I tend to walk around. But to answer your question specifically, I have never thought about it, but I think it's a good input. We can train our mind to basically stand up and start walking when the phone comes.
Well, I mean, it's always worked for me. I mean, even when I had a proper job and office in London, I'd be on the speakerphone. As soon as I put on a speakerphone, I'm walking around the office because I'm looking out the window and I'm thinking, and I'm getting myself away from the desk workspace. And that's how I used to do it. But it worked for me. The point is, do something that works for you. One thing we do know to compete and combat this virus, be healthy. Well, what better than to do multitasking? And I don't want to hear anyone on this conversation that's listening in to saying, oh, men can't multitask. Yes, you can. You can actually do 2 or 3 things at the same time, like we are. The brain is geared to thinking and listening, which is 2 things. We think and we listen. We listen and we think. A lot of people don't listen, unfortunately, but that's another subject. We'll come on that different day. But take exercise, because actually, irrespective of the coronavirus, it's really good for you. And if you can do some exercise when you're not actually designed to be exercising, down the gym, or taking a walk around the block or whatever, you're actually doing more exercise. I like the thing that you mentioned. Technology can help us here. I don't have an Apple Watch, but I do an iPhone, and on here I will, when I'm walking, obviously, and talking, that's with me. I've got my earphones plugged in and it's in my pocket, and I'm walking, and every step this picks up. And at the end of the day, it says, congratulations, you've done 15,000 steps. Well, if I'd have sat down in front of my PC and talked, I wouldn't have achieved half that. So you can link one thing to another. And again, this is just being smart. I don't think here we're talking about any rocket science stuff, but it all boils down to this one word, discipline. So let me wrap up everything that we've been talking about, because there are 10 things actually that we've been talking about. The first thing is get ready for work, get dressed, stay in touch with your colleagues, and use those secure collaborative tools that you use all the time. Make sure they're secure, because a lot of the conversation you're going to be having is secure. There are some great tools like this, what we're doing here, video conferencing. If you don't have a desk, Work from the table, don't work from the bed. It's not good for posture and it's not good for what's going on in here. Reserve the internet for you because your work's important. So discuss with your family and your dog. Give your dog a list of things. Make sure they read them and they put their paw print on there so that they're going to agree to it because you want a contract. The movies, they do applications. You agree a time when they're going to be working online, when you're not, because you must take pauses. And when you take a pause, have a drink. Contact your colleagues. Just have a chat. It doesn't matter what you're chatting over, because guess what? If you're at work, you'll be chatting a load about lots of other things, including updating yourself on the coronavirus. What's happening? Where can I buy toilet rolls? Where can I get hand sanitizer? Which seems to be lacking in all of the shops. So small talk here is absolutely essential because you cannot concentrate for 9 hours. Trust me, it's reality. You will do yourself harm if you do it. Pets, most important. Keep the pets happy but at a distance. And reach out to your colleagues if you're feeling lonely. Because when you start to work from home, one of the biggest things is, not that you'll play hooky or anything like that, because actually you could be running your own business. So you don't want to be playing hooky and, and swinging the lead or whatever terminology you're using. But loneliness is a real issue here. And the simple way to keep out of loneliness is to go and take action and call somebody. Keep in touch with other people. Now, those are 10 things we've been through, but they all fundamentally go down common sense and be disciplined. And none of those were anything but common sense, were they, really?
Yes, I think the viewers will benefit from the information that we have discussed today, and we have jotted it down for the benefit of the viewers, because many people may be thinking like you, Neville, but then there are vast majority of people who would not be thinking like this to get organized. So I think thank you very much for putting this in
Pleasure.
perspective, and hopefully people will get channelized and start following these guidelines. Um, till the time there is travel ban, or people are in isolation, I think they can still have a good time if they follow these guidelines, and they will not miss their workplace, they will not miss their family, they will not miss their pets, they will not also miss their lifestyle, and they can manage the whole thing out if they follow what you are trying to tell us today. So thank you very much, Neville.
Pleasure, as ever. Take care.
Right, Neville. So it was pleasure talking to you. Your wisdom and your guidance is of very high value for us. We will meet you next time in the next video, in our next discussion, next Tuesday, same time. Until then, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.